There's no longer a sense of hopelessness. There's no longer a sense of I can't change this. There's no longer, oh, this contraction must be real. What we have available now is so much greater, so much greater, so much more accessibility. And what it gives you is you approach every moment in your life from a different space. To see the people 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and see how much was still changing from that one class, I'm like, this is one of the greatest gifts I can offer the world. It's phenomenal. Here's the interesting part is we have been educated and conditioned to believe that the only gift of being us is controlling everything. And being has no feeling or sense of contraction. So think of a time where you asked for something and it just showed up. It was glorious. That was you being. But we keep looking for how does it feel when I'm out of control? How does it feel when I'm being me? How does it feel when I'm changing things? How does it feel when I create wonderful stuff? And it's actually that space that is, it's a lot lighter than feeling. There's no thought when you're being you. Well, how do I reproduce it? What's a mechanism of action? And the thing is, there's such a lighter, and I say lighter like in the sense of lightness, in the sense of happiness, in the sense of no problems and no significance. There's such a lighter space that everything can occur from. We've been basically conditioned that that has no value and essentially doesn't exist. Except what do we love the most when we're being happy and when we don't give a fuck about stupid shit? When we're not making stupid things relevant, when we're letting things, even if other people are making them relevant, when we don't have to, there's such a freedom in that. And that's the other thing that you get from being, which is total freedom. There's a space of being that if we can start to notice when that occurs and acknowledge, oh, I'm being more of me in this area, I'm being more of me. When you have less stress in an area, you're being more of you. And if we can just start to acknowledge that, we'll start to sort of build a space of awareness of being, which is what it is, but also allows us to choose more of it. The common theme outside of access is that it's about getting something right, a furtherance of the thing that we learn growing up of judgment. And so when there's a standard for, am I having more of this? Am I doing it better? There's all of that. And the trap in that is we understand those constructs at this point. We didn't
Mm.
when we were younger, but we were conditioned enough to understand how to go against our very being in order to create acceptable use in this reality. And I realized now that I felt unsuccessful because I wasn't getting more of my being, I was getting more of my thinking. This other stuff I didn't give me enough of a space to where when I would go out into the world, I would have so much space and the world would have whatever it had going on, but I had space, a being. And this was the first thing that I had done where I was like, oh my God, this is not only beautiful, but it's possible and it's actually happening and I'm part of it and oh my goodness. So for me it had this sense of everything was right in the world for one of the first times in my life. And it was like if a space of no judgment and possibilities and almost like liquid light, love, peace, happiness filled the room. You don't know until you know. A space beyond thought that actually accesses that deep and wide part of you that is your being. You can't think yourself to it. It's not just, and we think of space as one thing. No, it's not. It's the fullness of every possibility. And here's the difficulty is we've grown up and we somehow think we're normal. And we think we're either a worse version of normal based on whether we do this as well as other people, or a better version of normal based on if we do this better than other people. And we think that's a sum total of all there is. But that
Mm.
is one tiny very thin, very solid line of possible realities. And so what starts opening up as you access your being is the space of actual possible realities, the space of realities of possibility. But what it does, it gives you a space where you can see what's truly relevant to you as a being. And here's the interesting part is when somebody focuses on something and makes it more and more and more relevant, more and more significant, more and more important. Oh my God, this money thing, this relationship thing, this world war thing, this, blah, 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 blah. What happens is they become less capable of choosing something different. We all have choice. When you're being, there's just a space from which choosing beyond that seems easier. So rather than, oh, this money thing is going on, it's been going on for years. And by the way, if you have a money thing going on, it's been going on for people around the world for years. And
Mm,
what's the solution to it? Not what anybody out there is telling you. The solution is actually becoming more of you so you can chart a course that is different. But you can't see that until you get to be more of you. The idea in this reality is you need to focus on it. What can I do today to change it? What can I do today to change it? What can I do today to change it? Oh, it's not changing based on your judgment. Because even when you're in the middle of changing it, you can't tell that you're in the middle of changing it because you still have all the feelings around it, which is one of the ways we make it really relevant. And change your question to what can I be that will allow this to change? The sense is almost like, what can I be that will allow this to change on its own? And it's not exactly right, but sort of. And so it's an interesting thing that what we've been entrained to and what we've been conditioned to and what we've been taught is that we need to work harder and judge more on those things that we want to change, be more, so we are a space that allows possibilities to occur and allows the thing to almost change on its own because what we don't realize and what quantum physics tells us is what you vibrate like you get. What if you went, hold on, what can I be? Allow me to like myself enough to allow it to change. Because what we've been doing is we've been in training to a lot of other people, and we have been trying to heal the world by holding on to the things that the people in the world and the people that we care about are suffering. And in so doing, we vibrate like that suffering to try to understand it, to try to change it. But what if you're not suffering that way creates a space for a different choice for everyone? See, here's the interesting part is I grew up with such wrongness all around me. It was like the people I grew up around were experts at feeling wrong themselves, blaming the world for what it was doing, why they couldn't create their lives. They would just be happy if. And I grew up seeing these people do such intense wrongness, and they would, of course, if I were ever happy, they would do whatever they could to say, you're not right. You need to get in line with us and be wrong. You need to feel poor. You need to make this significant. And at I think a very young age, I went, okay, even though it
mm,
wasn't truly me. And so there's been a dynamic desire to have all the choices and possibilities that I know that my family didn't. And it's interesting because for a long time I went about it the way I'm talking that people go about it. I made things significant. I looked for what was wrong. I looked for the mechanism. I didn't realize people were choosing it. So, how many of you watching have at least a little more space right now, a little more room to breathe? Imagine having that everywhere. Imagine having it with every area of your life. What if your life were not about the struggle to overcome the problems? What if your life were about the enjoyment of the moment and the creation of more every single day? what would that be like? I mean, you may not be able to quite fathom it right now, but take my word for it, it is a possibility. But you'd have to give up your card carrying membership in the reality of struggle. You'd have to be like, okay, I was a member ever since I was little, but I'm giving it up now. I'm going to try something different. And see, we don't do this randomly. We don't try to figure out why people are suffering randomly. We don't try to take it away randomly. We do it because we care. And
Mm,
because we want them to know they're cared about by having somebody like them who sees them, blah, blah, blah. But what if true caring were being willing to be that one that explores possibilities so that when other people are ready, they can choose? What if we can allow people to choose whatever they're choosing and we're not the source for changing it? They've got to be. We can't change something for someone else. But what if instead of holding it in until we understand it, what if we could just pass it through to the people that are asking for it and see what possibilities that we can invite to the world by being possibilities? Most of us have grown up thinking that if, and being told that if we're happy, we're doing something wrong. What if I stop adding to the suffering in the world and instead become a space of possibilities and instead enjoy being alive, which is all what occurs from being you? When you're happy, you're unstoppable, which is why so many people have tried to get you to stop being happy because they
yeah.
would rather put you in a little box in their lives that fits their point of view of reality. But what if today's the day you go, it's my life, it's my choice. I'm going to live. I'm going to be me, whatever it looks like, whatever it takes. I'm going to actually have, because the other thing about being you is it's always an exploration. And how
Yeah.
many of you are friggin' bored with who you've created yourself as, and you're willing to only change one tiny part because otherwise you might be too out of control? But what if the joy of being alive is a constant exploration? Ooh, what else? Ooh, what else? Ooh, what else? Ooh, what else? It is, because as a humanoid, you get so fucking bored once you do the same thing twice. You're like, you just want to leave. You want to get out of the situation. But what if this is an invitation to a
Mm,
constant exploration? What is really true for me? Who am I really? And if I didn't have to hold on to any of the mechanisms of the past, and if there's not a mechanism, and if there's not a why for what people in my life chose that I didn't understand, if there's not a why today for why people are choosing things I don't understand and choosing suffering, and if there's not a why for why I'm choosing it either, and if there's just choice, what would I like to choose? And what can I choose that I've never imagined possible? The way consciousness actually works is someone over here will have, let's say they've been exploring something, I don't know, for 15 years or 20 years or 3 months, I don't know. And they go on this journey, and what we talk about, plus the energetics of what's there, their world pops open. And when that pops open for them, you can perceive it start being like a siren song of possibilities for everybody else in the room where it gets infinitely easier. So this person pops and it's like pop, 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 pop. Now you have 7 or 8, 9, 10 people who popped in a similar way. Now everybody in the room within a little bit goes pop because that's the way consciousness works. So day one occurs, right? And you're like,
mm,
whoa. And then day two and day three, just it's unfathomable and unexplainable, but it's so beautiful. Then to see the people 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later, and see how much was still
mm,
changing from that one class, I'm like, this is one of the greatest gifts I can offer the world. And it was from that space of that becoming sunshine for everybody. What we have available now is so much greater, so much more accessibility. And what it gives you is you approach every moment in your life from a different space. There's no longer a sense of hopelessness. There's no longer a sense of I can't change this. There's no longer, oh, this contraction must be real. Yeah, you'll still maybe have contraction, but instead of, oh my God, and you live there for months trying to get out of it, instead you go, oh, okay, well, I've had an experience of my being beyond this. Okay, what's right about this I'm not getting, and what do I need to change this? And always after what seems like a contraction is a far greater space. It's phenomenal.